Views expressed by Casters Guild members are only the opinions of that member, and that could change from day to day. Guild members may use mature language, but that in no way means they are mature. Listener discretion is advised.
We're back with a new season to let you know the SAG-AFTRA video game strike is still going strong. Our feelings on the Switch too, and to spend way too much time talking about Looney Tunes movies, because that's the spell we're casting tonight on Casters Guild. Thank you for tuning into this episode of Casters Guild. I'm your Guild Master Ric Perry, and I am extremely susceptible to propaganda.
And I am your Guild Master Baron Kane, and I am, also extremely susceptible to propaganda. Well, I read it, so I believe it.
and don't forget, Guildies, we are all extremely susceptible to propaganda.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we are back after what felt like the longest mid-season break that we've ever had.
Really does feel like we've been gone forever.
Yeah, I've had a lot of instances between seasons where I've met new people and been like, oh yeah, I have this podcast. Here, take my card. Come check us out. And then I realize, oh, I still have like another X amount of weeks before we even have a new episode up. So I usually give them the disclaimer. I'm like, there won't be any new episodes until like late March, but we'll be back, I promise.
Yeah, that's where we should just be like, just go ahead and just start from the beginning. And then, yeah, by the time you catch up, you should be good.
Yeah, by the time you catch up, there'll be new stuff out. Oh, man, but a lot of stuff went down between seasons. In my personal world, that is also geek-related, I've done some more work with True Dungeon.
You have indeed.
Mm-hmm. I got to play an NPC for one of their virtual True Dungeon runs. And I gotta say, I had a lot of fun. For the company, they really take care of their volunteers. And so if you are looking for a way to get to conventions or just looking for something to do, I would highly recommend checking out their volunteer program because they really take care of people.
Yeah, I mean, from what I've seen, because I've looked into getting involved as well, but stuff going on in my life, it's been kind of hard. But yeah, it's, I would say probably don't count on doing much at the convention, maybe a little bit, but that's if you've ever volunteered at a convention before, it's almost the same thing.
Yeah.
Where, you're putting in a lot of time doing this, but you're pretty much getting it for free, but on top of that, they give you some cash. And
yeah,
so yeah, if you're just going and you want to go and just see a couple things and hit that exhibition hall, you're fine. Then you're good to go,
which is perfect for me. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Same.
Except for the conventions where we get like the press passes, because I'm working those, so like I need my time.
I'm just too old to do the shit that I used to do at conventions, game all day and then LARP all night. So I'm pretty much, I want to go get a look at the exhibition hall, and let's face it, you really only need one time through.
Yeah.
So you go in, you have a good time volunteering, you get paid, and then you go in and you use that money that you got in the exhibition hall.
Yeah, absolutely. The last Gen Con I did where I was volunteering with them, I actually did more than I did the first time. Just because the first time I went to Gen Con and I volunteered with them, I was glad that I had less time, honestly, because the whole thing was overwhelming. So just to have the excuse to be like, nope, I have to be here at this time, so I am limiting myself in what I can do, was necessary.
Right.
But honestly, even with working the full shifts, I would go into my shift in the early afternoon and, be there until, a little after midnight. And still, just the way my body operates, I'm still up at 6 a.m. It doesn't matter if I went to bed at 2, and I'm good to go. So I had, the first half of the day to do whatever I wanted to at the convention, which was nice. But yeah, that being said, I would look forward to seeing us at some upcoming conventions. We've definitely applied to be at Origins again, so really looking forward to do some coverage there. They don't respond or look at those applications until like late April, so we can't confirm that we'll be working there until then, but I think our chances are pretty good.
I would like to think so. I mean, we did a lot. I'm not saying that the other people didn't do what we did, but you had people there who were, you know, boy, how do I word this? I'm not going to word it.
Just trying to be nice.
Yeah. But I mean, you had people there that were just there to, I think, more for themselves than they were for the show. And we were definitely there for the show, for the people at the show. I mean, we were there for ourselves for sure, just to get content. But at the same time, we were like, we need to talk to as many people as possible. We want to get this word out for the show, you know, and I think that we got a good amount of content that was positive press for that show.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
If they look at that, if they look at what we did and say they weren't good enough, I will be shocked.
Honestly, I don't think it's going to come down to the content that was produced or what we did for them, which is what it should be. It should be like, a merit-based system, if you will. But I think it's going to come down to how many tickets they sell and how much money they're making. And it's, how many tickets can we afford to give away for free to press? And how many applications do we have?
True. And I think that maybe another thing that might hurt us is, and by no means am I complaining about this, because I'm pretty sure that if we were a super popular podcast, I probably would have self-imploded by now. But I really, really enjoy the audience that we have. Mm-hmm. But when someone else looks at that audience, they might be like, well, that's not a big audience. That, what kind of reach is that giving us?
Right. I do love our dedicated audience, though.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a lot of fun. It is the engagement that I enjoy. I will tell you right now, new people, if we start getting a bunch of people signing up and getting into the Discord and stuff, I'm still only going to talk to like 2 people. Sorry.
And it's not because we don't appreciate you, new people. It's just like, we're all neurodivergent and only have so many spoons.
Yes. I have 2. I have 2.
Yeah, one for each person, and one of them is me.
Yes. And then I think pretty much Guillermo, Raven, and CC all have to share the last one.
Yeah. It's kind of like how it's kind of like how friends, share a brain cell. It's a group of people sharing Baron's last spoon.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to get a bunch of spoons made, hand out at conventions. Just says Baron's last spoon.
Then you can have people argue over who actually got it.
Right. Well, that's clearly a forgery.
Wait, mine's the real one. Duh. Is there any topic in particular that you want to dig into first?
Honestly, I think that probably right out the jump, I kind of want to look at a political subject, which is mainly there's a lot of shit going on right now, and we really need each other right now.
Yeah.
I need the people in my life. You guys need the people in your lives. We all need each other, especially those of us in the, neurodivergent, queer. I mean, even just women. We need support for all of these people and for each other, because there's a lot of shit going on that they are really, really trying to fuck us here. And we just need to know that there are people that still care. And do what you can. I mean, I'm not going to be one of those people that shames you because you didn't donate to a particular organization or because you're not screaming it out loud on social media. There are times when you have to shut the fuck up, because shutting the fuck up is the best course of action, because you don't want to be a target. Not a lot of us have money, but do what you can, even if it's just showing support to your loved ones, because we all need it right now.
I know for a fact there are people from the other side of the aisle who do listen to this podcast. And all I will ask of you, at the very least, is just try to understand that there are a lot of us who are terrified, and at least try to be sympathetic to that, and don't just be like, oh, well, you're scared over nothing. because we're rational human beings and we're not scared over nothing.
Yeah.
Just try to at least, if nothing else, I'm not gonna change your mind, and you're not gonna change mine, but at least try to be sympathetic. Try to be human about it, at least.
Especially if it's in our Discord, especially if it's with our guild members. You know, if there's still anybody supporting Trump right now that listens to us, I don't have many nice things to say to you, so I won't say them. But, you know, we are rational human beings, like Guildmaster Ric said. We are scared for good reasons. We have rationalized it out, and we have seen the writing on the wall, and we are reacting rationally, I believe. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, look, we're not going to kick you out just for having a particular belief necessarily, but if you are going to come in and start stomping around and throwing around, you know, hate speech, and you know what, I'm not going to sit here and explain all the rules. Like, if you know what you're doing, and if what you're doing is something you shouldn't be doing, you will get booted. I don't expect that to happen, but like,
we posted rules. We posted rules in the Discord, so
yep.
You cannot say that you were unaware of the rules. So
yeah, we actually had our first ban from the Discord between seasons.
Yeah, but it wasn't
that.
Though.
Yeah, it wasn't that. Yeah,
it was a bot.
Somebody's account got taken. A bot just came in, tried to post links to a not safe for work Discord in every single channel.
Yeah, and if you join the Discord, you may be able to find one of the links in one of our channels. So join now. See if you could find one of the hidden Easter egg links in there.
It might be there.
Who knows? We're not good at this Discord thing. We may not have got them all.
I do have to praise Discord in it being surprisingly easy for me to clean that up.
Yeah, it was fast. Fast.
Yeah, it was very much like 2 clicks, and it took care of it for me. And I'm just like, oh wow, I expected to have to work harder at this.
Yeah, it was like before I even had a chance to sit down to address it, it was gone.
Yeah.
So we got that out of the way. Let's move on to nerdy shit.
All right. You know what? Let's just get the rest of the stuff that might be downers out of the way. And let's talk about this SAG-AFTRA strike.
Still going.
Yeah. For those of you who've been following us and talking about SAG-AFTRA, you may remember we talked about the actor strike for quite some time for movies and television. There is another one going on that's mostly for voice actors for the video game industry. And they're striking to get protections against AI being used in the industry and kind of taking their jobs away.
Yeah. And it's funny too, because, you know, a lot of people can say, you know, hey, there's nothing to worry about. However, if any of you are familiar with Horizon Zero Dawn, Ashley Birch's character, Aloy, the
main character, by the way. This is not some little side character. This is the main character of the game.
Yep. And it was a leaked demo, and it showed Aloy carrying on a conversation with a Sony engineer, and they were using AI computer voice responses in real time. Now, I haven't seen the actual interaction, so I don't know how well it went. But fact of the matter is they're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And they're doing it in kind of shitty ways. I've always said that there are uses for AI. There's 100% uses for AI, but what this is implying is, hey, we don't need Ashley Birch to do this character.
Yeah. Just to kind of put it out from both sides, and not saying I agree with any of this, Sony did say, or Guerrilla, actually, the developers of the game, did say that the video that was done did not represent anything that was actively in development, and that they don't have any plans to use AI voice when creating the games. Which, at least there is that. They said that they didn't use any of her performance and none of her facial or voice data. I don't know how they got Aloy's voice without using her voice data, but, you know, that goes without saying. But that being said, that still could have been a job that Ashley could have had. That got taken, just even that demo. And it does show what they can do. So whether they say they're not going to or not, there's no protections to stop them from doing it.
Exactly.
Which is exactly why they have the strike, because they want to have those protections in place.
Mm-hmm. Yep. The fact that it's going on this long, it's kind of concerning.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like it's gonna be harder because I'm just as guilty of it as everybody else. It's harder for me as a geek to fully support this strike the way I supported the movie and TV one. It's hard to keep track of what studios need to be boycotted and how to properly boycott.
Right. I completely agree. I think I've been doing okay in that I'm doing a lot of indie gaming stuff, but I mean, I did also just get a big name title as well, which sadly is probably one of the ones that has been boycotted as well.
Sure.
But
are you comfortable saying which one it was?
Yeah, it was the Jedi Survivor.
Gotcha.
Which, honestly, if I'm following my own advice, and I will hold myself accountable here, you know, it was the spring sale on Steam, saw that it was super cheap. I'd been waiting on it, and I realized, oh, it's open, I'm going to go for it. After I bought it, I was like, you know, I should really be boycotting them in two different ways right now.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely leads back to, because publishers are a thing. I don't know if this is one of the developers that's involved in the strike, but I know for a fact you're involving Disney somehow when it's Star Wars, and Disney is definitely one of the companies involved in the strike. Not trying to justify or anything, but I think at least that game was out of development before the strike.
Okay.
So you're at least, I feel like, supporting the actors and the developers and everybody who made that game.
Right.
Before the strike. Of course, you're still buying it currently, and some of that money is still going to developers, the publishers, probably the majority of it. You know, but if I've said it once, I've said it 100 times, and I'll say it 100 times more. There is no ethical consumption under capitalism.
Yep.
You literally can't buy something without supporting someone you probably shouldn't support. So,
yeah, I tried not to let that justify my actions, because that could be easily one of those, you know what, I want to get this, but I really shouldn't. You know what? There is no ethical consumption under capitalism. I'm going to go ahead and buy it. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I guess it is what it is. I'm not here to shame anybody for consuming Disney. I mean, I'm watching Daredevil.
Yeah.
But I'm also not doing it in a way to directly support Disney. So,
yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, let's use this example here. For how much I have cried and screamed on this podcast about Hasbro WotC and about how much they fuck up, I got really heavy into Magic the Gathering between seasons. I've been playing a lot of Commander. That being said, I'm not funneling a ton of money into WotC via Magic the Gathering or Commander. I proxy most of what I have, meaning they're not getting my money. And when I do buy, the only time I do buy cards is when I'm at a friendly local game store, and I will buy a booster pack, because I personally cannot leave a friendly local game store without buying something to support that store. And buying a booster pack of cards is an easy way to do that. So you're doing I feel like I'm doing the good of supporting that local game store, but some of my money is still going to WotC Hasbro, and that's one of my biggest ones that I shout and scream that you should probably boycott, and yet there goes my dollars. So, you know, we're not perfect. I'm still not going to buy those new books though.
I think that I feel better in my convictions in that I've held pretty true to my ban of Wizards of the Coast.
Yeah.
It's mostly because tabletop role playing is near and dear to my heart. You know, it is, you know, my favorite hobby. So, you know, for me to be like, well, this nearest and dearest thing to my heart, I will be boycotting because I just don't agree with the shit that they're doing right now. I feel a little better about that. But, you know, I could still feel bad for buying shit that I probably shouldn't. Yeah. I mean, living in, you know, essentially living in poverty, I will feel bad every time I use Amazon, but being, someone who doesn't have a lot of money, Amazon is kind of affordable and convenient, and it's hard to justify not using it.
It often works out to be the best, if not the only option.
Yep. So yeah, I guess what you should walk away from here is if you want to feel bad about it, but don't let it, you not boycotting something or something, don't let it rule your life. It is going to be what it is.
Pick your battles, and when you are boycotting something, there are times it's going to hurt, and it should hurt, but do what you can.
Catholics maybe wait until after Lent. I mean, you've already got enough on your plate where, or not. Rather, you don't have anything on your plate. Ugh. See you at the fish fry.
All right. This one's probably going to be one of the last things I'm angry about. So let's go ahead and knock this out of the way. There was recently an article that I came across on Forbes letting me know that the showrunner of God of War has been very vocal about the fact that he is not a gamer and has not played any God of War games.
Okay.
He has even pretty much fully came out and said that he was placed on this project, that he was put on the project and did not pursue it at all.
Okay.
And the one that really got me was he said even if he wanted to play the games in like doing research for the shows, he doesn't even know how to operate a modern controller. All of this just screams lack of passion to me, like a lack of care and a lack of passion. I'm a gamer, so take my perspective with a grain of salt. But God of War is not a difficult game. On its easiest difficulties... you just tap a button. On its easiest difficulties, anybody can wrap their mind around it. Anybody can play it. And as far as can't operate a modern controller, let's talk about modern controller here for a second. The PlayStation controller has been essentially the same since like 97, because that's when the DualShock Pro came out. That's the first time it had dual analog sticks, and it hasn't changed much since, which means you've had almost 30 years to figure that shit out. I want to be excited for this show. I want to love this show. It's already been picked up for 2 seasons before a single shot has been shot. Mm-hmm. And the whole thing is screaming Halo to me.
Oof.
Because the same thing happened with Halo, where the showrunners were not gamers. They had never played the game. And they admitted to never playing the game, and they didn't even look at the games. They looked at the story and the characters, but did not look at the game at all. And we saw what happened with that show.
But, and let me tell you, I was going to try to be devil's advocate, right? I was going to be like, a person could never play a game, and as long as they were able to immerse themselves in the story, like if they had the story written out for them and they were able to immerse themselves in that story and really get a feel for it, I think that they could still do a really good job of presenting this. But then you had to go and bring up the Halo thing.
Yeah. And honestly, that is a decent point. But the fact that you got put on the show, you weren't pursuing the show, and that you refused to even try to connect with the source material, it yells at me that you don't have any care and you definitely don't have any passion. So even if someone were to present you with like a perfect God of War script, story, movie, whatever it is you need to ingest it without playing the game, do you even give a fuck?
Mm-hmm.
And we were entering, like, I feel like we're exiting it now, but like we were entering a golden age of adaptation.
Sure. Especially
when it comes to video game. You look at Last of Us and you look at Fallout.
Yeah. Chef's
Kiss. Those shows were both amazing.
Well, let's face it, the Last of Us show is done after this season.
Yeah.
This next season is done.
But still, I mean, like, and even then, the showrunners admitted that they were not gamers. But,
oh, really? Last of Us did?
Yes, but
nice.
They went and played the games as soon as they knew that they were going to be attached to the project. They weren't gamers, and they became gamers, and they said that they loved the experience of playing those games, and then they turned that love into the fantastic shows that they provide for us.
Hold on. So they weren't gamers, and you're telling me they became gamers with Last of Us as their first game?
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that.
The same thing happened with the Fallout show.
Holy shit.
But that's the level of care that I'm talking about here. No, you don't have to be a gamer to make a good video game show.
Right.
But you at least have to care enough to indulge in the source material.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
So yeah, if it's not obvious, I'm a little pissed at this guy. And hold on, let's talk about a whole nother part of this. How many people exist in this world who are extremely talented and would make great showrunners and are chomping at the bit to be a part of the God of War project?
Right, exactly.
How many people would this be their dream project, their passion project, the thing they've wanted to do for their entire careers, and it's just being handed to this guy? Ronald D. Moore, by the way, is the guy it's being handed to. And I'm not going to lie, the guy's got some impressive credits under his belt. He's responsible for Battlestar Galactica. He's responsible for Outlander. He's responsible for, let's see, what else? I don't know. It doesn't matter. Point is, he's obviously a good showrunner. Oh, Star Trek Generations.
Wait, the movie?
Well, he's done stuff for Star Trek Generations, the movie. He's done Star Trek for the Next Generation, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Star Trek Voyager, Battlestar Galactica. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Sci-fi.
The guy's got some impressive credits.
Sci-fi.
Yeah.
Not saying that he can't do fantasy, but...
Right. It's not exactly the first person you think of when you hear God of War. I don't know, man. And, like, the fact that he just comes out, nobody fucking asked him. Nobody asked him. He came out and, like, said this shit as though he's, like, proud of it.
Mm-hmm.
Where he's just like, oh, I'm not a gamer. I don't engage with that shit. And it's like, come on, man.
Yep. Yeah, it's kind of hard to... It's kind of hard to justify, really.
Yeah. I don't know. I'll still be hoping that it turns out to a good show. I mean, it takes a lot of people to make a television show.
Mm-hmm.
And just because he's not engaged with the source material doesn't mean that other people involved with the show aren't.
I think, you know what? I think I kind of put it together in my head. I think it's not necessarily that he isn't engaged with the source material. It is that he refuses to engage with the source material.
Yeah. That's what it's really all about.
Yeah, that it's the whole feeling of, yeah, I've never played it. I've never looked at it. And guess what? I'm not going to. It's like, I don't know. Okay. I don't know what point you're trying to prove right now.
You got me. You got me. And to, like, come out and say it without being prompted. Like, it wasn't in an interview where somebody was like, oh, well, how much God of War have you played in order to prepare for the show? And he went, oh, well, none. Like, he just completely unprompted just came out with it. It just, like I said, it just shows an entire lack of care, lack of passion for the material. I don't know. You have every opportunity to change my mind.
Yes. Yep.
I want it to be good. I
think that it's harder to do with video games because you do have so much in the way of source material. You have lore, you have a bunch of story that's already been laid out. And it's hard to hear someone say this because then they kind of imply that they're going to come in and they're just going to make up their own story.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, how are you going to do that? It's like, with God of War, you can't really just... Unless you do flashbacks, you know, a lot of flashbacks, you're not going to walk in and go right into bald daddy Kratos.
Right.
Bald bearded daddy Kratos. It's not a thing that you could just jump into.
Yeah, if they jump straight into Ragnarok, I feel like they've already lost me.
Yeah.
Like Kratos' story is so integral to who he is and the story at large. And, like, his character arc is so fantastic. Please be a good show. Please.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I was just confessing, I kind of got really into Commander in between seasons.
Mm-hmm.
And Commander has gone through a lot of changes from around the end of last season of the podcast until now. We already told you guys for the end of last season that Commander is no longer in the hands of the fans that it was. It was like, a fan created format. And due to a couple bans that happened and a couple death threats that got thrown around, those fans handed it over to Wizards of the Coast. So it is now completely run by Wizards of the Coast as a format. And one of the biggest things to come out of the fact that WotC now owns it as a format is they've entirely changed the power level system of the format. So one of the biggest reasons Commander works is it is a casual format that you can sit down with 4 people and have a casual game. And in order to do that, you have to have an idea of how good of the decks are that you're playing against, because people in a casual game aren't all playing, competitive level decks. So it used to be a conversation between, is your deck a power 1 to power 10? That system had its own problems. I'll admit most people said their decks were somewhere between a 7 and an 8, even though a lot of them weren't. And there wasn't really a whole lot of rules set forward to say this is how you determine the level of your deck. It was just kind of like an honor system kind of thing.
Right.
But WotC has now started their own system on how that works. And it is a bracket system. And instead of a 1 through 10, it is now a 1 through 5. When I first saw this bracket system and the qualifications that your deck had to meet to get into a particular bracket, I was very concerned. But I will say this is a beta. They're testing it and seeing how it works, seeing, what works and what doesn't with the system. And there are a whole lot more nuances to each of the brackets than what is just available on a 1-page infographic. I believe this system has a whole lot of potential, and I think once we knock the dust off of it and test it all to hell, I think it will be better than the old 1 to 10 power level system. And I think just like the power level system, it's going to take a lot of good faith from the players who are playing to place themselves in the bracket that they belong in with their deck.
Good faith from Magic players.
With the Commander community, I believe it can happen.
I know.
I believe it can happen. If you try to do this with people who are playing Standard, I don't think it will work.
Oh God! Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Hey, look, guys, can we just kind of count on you to do this? Yeah.
But then again, if you're playing Standard, the idea is that you're trying to play the best deck that you can anyway. Everybody's trying to play the most powerful deck that they can in Standard. That's the point of Standard.
I thought the point of Standard was to wait for someone to win a tournament and then go online and find the deck that won that tournament and then copy that deck exactly from the cards that you could buy online with all the money that you fucking have, and then go to tournaments so that everybody's playing the same deck. I may not understand Magic, actually.
Well, in many ways, you're not wrong.
Those are shots fired, by the way, in case anybody is interested. Those are definitely shots fired. So, cry about it.
But that being said, the bracket system has gotten a lot of hate from a lot of the casual community. I think it's just because it's not what they know. I think, everybody hates change.
Sure.
So I'm going to take the controversial opinion that I think it's definitely not perfect. I do think it's better than what we had, and I think it's going to get better. And the sooner we all get on board with it, the better it's going to be, because we can, give our input and, make it something that it should be. I might even go as far as to say I'll take the controversial opinion that I like it.
How dare you?
And it sucks that we live in this culture where something either has to be the greatest thing you've ever seen, or it's complete garbage and there is no in between. That's what your opinion has to be. And my opinion is definitely neither on this bracket system. It's definitely not perfect. It's definitely not the greatest thing I've ever seen. It's not amazing, but it's not garbage. So yeah, hopefully nuanced opinions is what you've come to expect from Casters Guild. All right, so Guildies, this is about the point in time you might be expecting it in an episode where I would, try to do some sort of clever transition into one of our affiliates to let you know that you can to go and check them out to support the cast. But we've got something new for you this season.
I was not warned of this. I had prepared for a reaction to something.
Well, you know what? Hold on to that gasp, because we all know that's what you're known for. Hold on to that gasp.
I don't know how you knew that's what I was going to do.
Because for the first time ever, Casters Guild has its own merch store.
Oh, now?
That's right.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
That's right. A lot of you guys have been asking since season 1, when can we buy a t-shirt? When can we buy a hat? When can we get a sticker? And the answer is now. At the time of the publishing of this episode, I will be posting in the Discord a link to our merch store. If you have one of our business cards or have ever saved our link tree, the merch link will be in that link tree, and it will be in the description of this episode. But if you just want to know what it is and you're listening, it's going to be casters-guild-shop.fourthwall.com. And we've got a lot of really cool products on there.
Yeah, and a lot of it is featuring the art of our very own guild member, Astopheles. That is, our avatars that you have come to know and love. So, yeah, definitely go give that a look.
You say a lot. I would say more than half.
True, that's true.
But, some of it has the first photo I ever took for our first ever icon. And some of it just features some of our catchphrases from the podcast. But yeah, if you're looking for a good way to support the cast, and maybe you've checked out our affiliates before and some of their products weren't for you, maybe this is how you choose to support us. And I want to be clear, if you don't do any of it, just being here and listening to us is enough support for me. All right, moving on. Let's see, a lot of Nintendo and a lot of Pokemon stuff came out in between seasons.
Yeah.
So let's start with the Switch 2. Why not? We got our Switch 2 announcement. Baron, you've been a fan of the Switch, yeah?
I have enjoyed the Switch, yes.
What do you think of the Switch 2? Or what we've seen of it, anyway?
I mean, I'm not too terribly overwhelmed by it. I mean, it just seems like more of the same.
Yeah.
I still don't think that Nintendo has really tapped the Switch they have now hard enough. I think that they could do more with it.
Oh?
Yeah. I mean, they kind of prove it every time they, the whole Zelda games that they did. And it's like, okay, you got these Zelda games coming out, and what else are you releasing? You could do more. You could do more with this.
Yeah, that's true.
This is a powerhouse console when you're not using it to its fullest extent. Now you're going to upgrade to something quote unquote better?
It is true that it seems Nintendo knows how to develop for this console and nobody else does, because all of the best stuff on the Switch is stuff that's made by Nintendo, and a lot of the stuff made by other people doesn't even compete. But that's been true of Nintendo for a long time, I think. I do think it's true that they could probably have a few more really big titles on the Switch before going over to the Switch 2. But I almost feel like the Switch 2... How do I... Let's see. Okay, so there was the 3DS... No, that's a bad example. There was the DS, and then there was the 3DS, right?
Okay, yeah.
So the 3DS was just another DS. But it did have its own games that only it could handle. And for a long time, the DS was still developed for, and you could play the DS games on the 3DS. You just couldn't play 3DS games on the DS. And I think that's what we're getting here with the Switch 2.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why I think they're going with Switch 2 instead of some other new naming convention. Because when it comes to their new consoles, that's not really Nintendo's MO to just call something 2, like this is the second version. And they've already said that the majority of Switch games will be playable on the Switch 2.
Okay.
So I think you're right when you say that they're not done with the Switch. I feel like this is just the new iteration. I feel like they've come up with some new things. They learned some things from the Switch, and there's always the motivation of a corporation to release something to get more money out of its consumers.
Right.
And I'm not going to say that Nintendo's some altruistic company that wouldn't do it just for that reason. But I also feel like Nintendo is not the type to release a whole new console without something new to offer.
Well, I hope that you are right. I hope that... I mean, even if it's we could do more stuff with this Switch, but let's make a couple little adjustments before we do it, and then we will start pumping out the good stuff. But I don't know. I have a feeling that a lot of the stuff that we're going to see coming out on the Switch 2 is going to be shit that they could have released on the Switch 1.
Yeah, possibly. If we look at what has been announced for the Switch 2, they have announced that there will be a new Mario Kart game, which is not surprising. They've had one for pretty much every console.
And they're going to have a new Smash game.
That's not been announced yet.
It hasn't been announced yet, but...
Sakurai did say after Ultimate he was done, but we'll see.
Oh, shit.
That doesn't mean Nintendo couldn't release one without Sakurai.
Right. Well, one could assume that another Mario Party is in the works as well.
Yeah. They have announced that there will be a new 3D Super Mario game, which I was really disappointed that only one of those released on the Switch. That we only got Odyssey and that was it, because Odyssey was fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, you would imagine we should have gotten more Mario stuff.
Yeah, we got plenty of 2D Marios, but there definitely should have been another 3D one. Then Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, which Metroid Prime 4 has been in development since the GameCube or the Wii. So it says it's slated for a release this year. I'll believe it when I see it. And then there's Pokemon Legends ZA, which looks to be a cross title. There will be a Switch version and a Switch 2 version. Okay. Which is what they've done with a lot of launch titles for a lot of their early consoles. Even when the Wii U came out, there was a Wii U version. No, the Wii. When the Wii came out, there was a Wii version of Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, and there was a GameCube version of Twilight Princess. So I feel like it's going to be kind of like that when it comes to Pokemon Legends ZA. There's also been quite a few titles that have been rumored that are third-party titles that are going to be coming to the Switch 2. A lot of the rumors come from pretty reliable leakers who have leaked stuff in the past and it's come out to be true. They're saying that the Final Fantasy VII Remake and Rebirth are both rumored to come to the Switch 2. Assassin's Creed Mirage and Shadows, Metal Gear Solid Delta, Red Dead Redemption 2, and somebody said Halo the Master Chief Collection, and that would be kind of crazy to see that Microsoft exclusive over on a Switch, so I'm not sure if I believe that one.
Yeah, that's a bit of a tall order.
The Switch 2 obviously is going to be bigger, it's going to have a better screen, better battery, all the stuff you expect out of a new console, but they do now have a mouse-like control in the Joy-Cons, where you can actually take the Joy-Con out of its dock, put it down on the table, and move it around like a mouse, and it will function the same way that a point-and-click mouse does.
Oh, neat.
Which I feel like will be a game changer for a lot of consoles, because not many consoles have mouse functionality.
I love that you totally did that on purpose.
I mean, regardless, I'm going to do everything I can to get one. I'm not going to say I'm going to get one because, like you kind of already pointed out, man, it's money's tight at this point. But I'm going to do everything I can to get one. I've been Nintendo's little bitch for most of my life, and they're not showing me any reason for that to end as of right now.
Might be time for that Casters Guild OnlyFans.
You know what? It might be.
Look, I'm still saying we'd have at least a couple loyal people on that OnlyFans.
Yeah, we would have
give us. Yeah,
I believe we would get at least 2 subscribers for at least 1 month.
And it's not who we think, I bet.
No, probably not. You know what? This actually reminded me of something I didn't put on the docket, but Microsoft has announced their next Xbox console.
Mm-hmm.
And they've announced that it will have access to Steam and PC Game Pass.
Yep.
Which is insane for a console to have Steam.
Mm-hmm.
Because a big part of the console wars and why people buy a particular console over another is console exclusives.
Yep.
And all of Sony's big console exclusive has been coming to PC recently and are available on Steam.
And are now available on Xbox.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
It's going to be rough for Sony unless they just completely stop putting their console exclusives on Steam.
Right, which, I mean, knowing them, they fucking might.
Yeah, that's true. But all you Helldivers out there who've been waiting for the Halo players to come and join you, the 3rd Infantry, the next wave to support the fight, they're on the fucking way.
Yep.
Oh, man. Over on the Pokemon side, I kind of already hinted at Pokemon ZA, Legends ZA. They did a great big release about what it's going to be and what it's going to be like. I'm fucking sold. Legends, I was sold before the announcement, honestly. Legends Arceus has been my favorite Pokemon game for a very long time, and I have zero reason not to try the sequel. There have been some gripes about the starters that they chose for Legends ZA when they announced those. It's basically just the Generation 2 starters, except they replaced Cyndaquil with Tepig. I don't know, man. It seems like the kind of thing not to complain over, but what do I know? If you're a Cyndaquil fan, just go play the first Legends game, because Cyndaquil was a starter there, and
yeah, have a good time.
If you don't like Tepig, pick a different starter. Like, if you don't like Totodile or Chikorita, then pick Tepig. I don't know, man. It's a Pokemon game. If you don't like any of the starters, it's very easy to replace it. Just pick one of them and then go catch something else and be like, oh, this is my new starter. Exactly.
Yep. You use that starter that you get as just a foothold to where you want to get.
Yeah. But it's not a time travel game like the original Legends game was. It's, if anything, it's set in a little bit in the future. There's more of an urban setting to this one, but there are still like wild areas that you could explore, just like you did in the original Legends game. Oh, it looks fucking cool to me. Oh, what next, Baron?
Well, I saw something very recently. I mean, like while we were talking, and there's a few things I want to hit, but I guess let's just go with this most recent thing. Hey, you remember that Coyote versus Acme movie that got canned?
I do, but like I feel like you're waiting for me to say nope because nobody knows what the fuck that is.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, I know you did. That's why I was asking. But,
yes,
there was a Warner Brothers, like, Looney Tunes Coyote versus Acme movie. It was one of those movies that they were like, we're not going to do this, and like Batgirl, they just kind of put it on a shelf somewhere, and they were like, we're never going to release it.
Yeah,
looks like someone bought it, and they're going to release it.
How does that work? How does like someone buying it like?
Bro, I don't know, man.
Because
I don't know. It seems like
it feels like they'd still have to have permission from WB to release it, right?
Correct. Well, no, not if they bought it. Then if they bought the rights to it, then they bought the rights to it to release it.
Can you buy the rights to an individual movie that's tied to a franchise like that?
It would be like those canceled TV shows. And everybody's like, oh, I hope Netflix picks it up. It's the same concept.
But those shows aren't filled with Looney Tunes characters, is where I'm confused.
True, but think Star Trek Prodigy.
Okay.
Star Trek is owned exclusively by Paramount.
Okay, yeah. I can see that.
But yeah. So they're going to release it. But what I don't understand is they didn't release it for a tax break, essentially.
Right.
So are they going to fucking pay those taxes now?
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm willing to bet not, because they aren't the ones releasing it. So like they can't say, "Oh, well, like we still didn't get our money from that movie." So, but they did sell it, so they did get some money from the movie.
Yeah, but maybe they'll be like, "Well, we sold it, but we didn't make our money back, so we sold it for a loss."
Did they though? Because they used it for a $30 million tax write-off, and they sold it for $50 million.
I know, man. I know.
Fucking man, these big studios and these big companies, they get away with fucking everything.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. How did that Looney Tunes movie that just came out recently do? I don't even remember what it was called.
It was Daffy and Porky something, End of the World. No, The Day the Earth Blew Up.
Okay. The day that does anybody know how well The Day the Earth Blew Up did? It's got an 86% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Our guild member Mike watched it and he said he loved it.
It did 5.6 million at the box office so far.
Oh, that's not great.
But
how much did it cost him though?
Not sure. It's also only been out for like 5 days.
Oh boy.
So I mean, it hasn't had a stellar opening weekend. That doesn't mean it's necessarily not going to.
Yeah. The budget was 15 million. Right now, the box office is 6 million.
Okay, we'll see. And
it can make the money back.
Its budget was 15, and so far it's made 6. And this movie, they bought it for 50. Oof.
Oh, the film premiered, and I'm reading this off of Wikipedia, so whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The film premiered at the Annecy International Animation Film Festival and had a limited release.
Okay.
In the United States on December 13th, before expanding wide on March 14th. So it wasn't. To me, it kind of sounds like a bit of a botched release.
Yeah.
But because, I mean, I've seen no hype to this whatsoever.
No.
But it was distributed by Ketchup Entertainment, the same people who got the Coyote versus Acme movie.
Okay. Well, then you know what that tells me is that studio is passionate about Looney Tunes.
Sure.
And hopefully they will, continue to do it just because it's what they love to do.
Ooh, they did. Ooh, oh no. Oh no.
Okay.
They did Hellboy the Crooked Man. Oof. They distributed it.
Yeah. They're obviously a distribution company. Like, this is what they're doing. They are buying shit up in order to distribute it, which, okay. Do they have any good credits under their belt? Let's see.
I mean, I guess it's a matter of opinion. They've been doing stuff since 2011.
Oh God, they do some of those terrible parody movies like the Starving Games.
Yeah. They did Harlock the Space Pirate. That's cool. Big Sur, that was something, right? That did really well, I think.
I've heard the name.
Or it was, I don't want to say, I want to say it was a critically acclaimed.
Sure.
Let me look at the reception. Ugh, gross. 44% on Rotten Tomatoes. I mean, did okay, right?
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, there's definitely something going on here because I didn't know that other Looney Tunes movie, The Day the Earth Blew Up, I didn't even know it was released until I was looking at what movies were in the theater to go possibly take my kid to the movies, and it was listed as one of the ones that was available, and I was like, what the hell is this?
Huh.
Yeah, they definitely didn't do a great job marketing it.
No. But I mean for it to not have been marketed very well and still do that, it's not bad, I guess.
Yeah. I feel like that's a bunch of parents just like me who went to be like, oh, I want to take my kids to see a movie this weekend. Oh, there's something Looney Tunes. Perfect. We've already seen Moana 2, so we'll go watch Looney Tunes.
The first fully animated and theatrically released film in the Looney Tunes franchise.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, because whenever they do a Looney Tunes movie, they somehow want to mix in people for some reason.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, it did work for Space Jam.
We're not going to talk about this. There are reasons why it worked for Space Jam. They're all the wrong reasons, but anyways.
Oh man, look, okay, so they bought the Coyote movie, and the Wile E. Coyote movie, and they're gonna distribute it. They're gonna make it hit theaters. Can we bring back the Tony Hawk Space Jam?
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
That was the thing that was gonna happen, and
I would have loved that.
Canned.
Or maybe we could talk them into bringing in the Batgirl movie.
Yeah, like, okay, what was it? Ketchup Entertainment, buy Batgirl. Just buy that.
You're gonna get a lot of people just watching it just to watch it, man.
Mm-hmm. Obviously, your bar is not high for the movies that you're willing to buy and distribute.
Oof.
I'm just calling it like I see it.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Buy the Batgirl movie.
Yeah, make us happy. You're going to get a lot of people that are just going to go see it out of principle.
Mm-hmm.
I guess next, too, and the only reason why I'm bringing this up is because it, as far as I know, still hasn't been announced. The Critical Role video game.
Yeah. I honestly am surprised. When I first saw it was going to be announced like any day, I thought by the time we were recording, it would have been announced, but it has not been yet.
Just to let you know, based off of an IGN article posted on March 13th, Travis Willingham says that it could be announced any day. Apparently, a week later, any day is not enough. So we're still waiting on an announcement. Nope. I feel like, and I think we've talked about this before, I don't think I've seen any details on this game at all. I think I'm going to be sorely disappointed by this fucking game.
You think so?
Yep. How much you want to bet they do something like they did with that like fucking Forgotten Realms game, where it's just a gotcha game and like an idle clicker kind of bullshit?
I'd like to think that with all the people who are involved with Critical Role,
sure,
and how long that they have been in the video game industry, I'd like to think that they won't allow that to happen. The quote from Willingham also says they'll actually be getting their hand on the stick and controlling the outcome of the story, changing what might be possible from not just some of their favorite characters, but new offerings in the world of Exandria.
Now, who does he mean by they?
Players.
See, because it's right after this quote, but Willingham said the team behind it remains hard at work. And then it goes directly into the quote, they'll actually be getting their hand on the stick and controlling the outcome of the story.
Might be referring to the team then.
So, like, is this team, like, writing out the story? Is that what he means? I mean, I guess one could assume that they mean us.
Yeah,
but
that's what I assume. But you're right, they could be meaning the players. But I don't know, man. Like I said, I feel like the team behind Critical Role has been very careful with what they're doing with their IP.
Mm-hmm.
And that they've been in the video game industry long enough to see what works and what doesn't.
Yeah, I think that's a big benefit that they have, is they are big in the video game industry. So.
And I feel like if they just wanted to release something to cash grab, they could have done so many other things that they've chosen not to do.
I get it, yeah. But I mean, like I said, I've been disappointed by this shit before, so it's like, please don't let me down. Not like you owe me anything, but, you know, goddamn.
I think there will be a lot of disappointed people either way, because I feel like there are going to be people who are expecting like a Baldur's Gate 3 level video game out of Critical Role. And I think the people who are expecting that need to understand what a miracle Baldur's Gate 3 was to begin with.
Correct.
And that is not what you should be expecting.
True.
I think we'll be lucky to get something at like a Dragon Age level.
Yeah, that's fair.
So yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of people who are disappointed either way, but I think we're going to get something better than some sort of cash-grabbing mobile game.
It would be hilarious if after the whole separation, Critical Role didn't snatch up Larian to do.
Oh my god.
Wouldn't that just be the fucking best?
That would be hilarious.
Oh, God, that would that would just be twisting the knife in Critical Role, sticking it to Wizards of the Coast, wouldn't it?
Yep. You know Wizards of the Coast want to sue so bad, but they wouldn't know how.
Yeah. It's like you fucking can't.
God, we want to sue you. God, we want to sue you.
Stop making Daggerheart and stop making games from Larian. Stop it.
Take us back, please.
Oh.
And they cry.
Good goddamn.
God, that'd be hilarious. God, I want that to happen so bad. I need it to happen.
Speaking of the TTRPG space, how did you get in the writer's room of the newest season of Dimension 20? Because I feel like this shit was tailor-made for you.
Oh yeah. I'm being targeted. Fucking targeted. It's fucking crazy. Yeah, so Dimension 20, and like we have this channel that no one can see in our Discord, and it's pretty much us posting what we want to talk about on these podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
And on all my different socials and everything like that, I was posting this. I was tagging people in it. I was, you know what I mean? I'm just like, look at all this crazy shit coming out. Did not post it in that thing. And then I get a notification from Rick that there it is. And I'm like, great. The one place I didn't do this.
Look, I'm pretty sure it showed up on my TikTok feed because you were sharing it.
Probably.
Like, let's be real. I was just the first person to just put it in the topics to cover channel. Like,
okay, yeah, okay, that's fair. But we haven't given any details about this, so let me give you some details. So, Dimension 20, this particular game is going to be ran by Brendan Lee Mulligan. Not that, anybody else would have been a bad choice, but I think we all have a love for Brendan. It's going to be set in ancient Greece. They'll be dealing with the gods and everything like that. But it's also wrestling. Like, the theme is wrestling. They are playing wrestlers. But they are also being played by wrestlers. WWE wrestlers, specifically. So you got Bayley, Chelsea Green, Xavier Woods, and Kofi Kingston. They're all playing... And it's like, you got some big fucking names to play this.
Xavier Woods was no surprise to me because he's been in this for a while.
Honestly, if they got all of the New Day, I'd have been like, okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. I don't know anything about Bayley, so I was a little surprised about Bayley, and I don't know anything about Chelsea Green. Bayley, when I say I don't know anything about Bayley, I mean like her personal life. I don't know anything about her personal life. Chelsea Green, I'm unfamiliar with her at all. So I was a little surprised by Bayley because, I didn't know that she was into this. But then again, she may not be into this.
Right.
I mean, the Dungeons & Drag Queens, I believe that the first time they ever played D&D was on that show.
Right.
Which, by the way, great show. Second season is amazing. But yeah, so yeah, they targeted me. I believe what they do is they get people on their mailing list and they're like, what are their interests? And they're like, okay, this guy has a weird little subsection of interests. Let's mash them all together into one thing.
Yeah.
And I was targeted specifically.
Yep. This season was meant specifically to separate Guildmaster Baroncane from his wallet.
Yep. Which isn't a lot because, again, let's point out that a subscription to Dropout is still like $5.
God, it's the best investment you can have in entertainment at this point. And I don't feel like that's a controversial statement. Like, it feels like for me to say the best investment in entertainment is a huge statement. It's not. It's just true. The amount of awesome content you get for the small amount that you pay for a Dropout subscription.
Yep. They even have a cooking show now, for fuck's sake.
Oh my God, it's such a great cooking show.
It's a great cooking show.
Yeah,
the whole thing is $5. $5. I am a whore for this channel and I'm not getting paid. I'm fine.
At this point, if they offered us a sponsorship deal or an affiliate, I feel like I would sit down with them at the table and like refuse their money and go, yes, we can work with you, but don't pay us anything. We will be your shill.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's coming from me, the guy who is like, please give us money. I would refuse their money because we will just continue to talk about you for free.
Right. It's like, I feel like we're cheating you to having you pay us because we're going to do it anyways.
Yeah. If anything, just feed us more information to talk about you for free.
Oh yeah. Give us free. You know what? You want to know how to pay us? Give us free subscriptions of your already super cheap subscription app.
And then like, just maybe give us some advanced information. So that we can like talk about it. Like, that's it.
Yep. I'm not even going to be one of those dudes that's like, you know what? Let me play on a Dimension 20 show. No.
It would be cool, and I wouldn't say no to that, but we're not asking for it.
I might say no. That's fucking intimidating, but yeah.
I'd be all over that shit.
I would be in there, and I would be the worst player they ever had on any of their shows. That editor is going to be working overtime, making me look good.
I don't think it would be that difficult, because I feel like every DM that has ever DM'd for Dimension 20 would be really good at making any player look good.
Yeah, fair.
So I don't think there would be much work left for the editor to do.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. It's good shit. Okay. Before we get too far from the topic of ancient Greece, have you seen Epic the Musical yet?
So, funny thing. Let me give you some background. I'm going to totally hold myself accountable on this. You ready?
Sure.
I think that I was following that guy right out the jump. Like, as soon as he posted, hey, I'm working on this musical, and it's called Epic the Musical, and blah, blah, blah. And, like, I started following him after that, thinking this isn't going to go anywhere.
Yeah, I get that.
I was like, this isn't going to go anywhere. He's just going to do some fun stuff on TikTok, and I'm going to watch it, and I'm going to enjoy it, whatever.
That's what I thought, too.
And for the life of me, did not expect anywhere near what this guy has gotten.
Mm-hmm.
Still getting, for that matter. And there are people, like, hitting me up like, hey, have you ever heard of Epic the Musical? And it's like, do you know my subsection of interests? Yes. Yes, I have.
Look, I had no doubt that you heard about it. I just wanted to know if you watched it.
Oh yeah. No. I thought you were just bringing that up because that's a way that you pull up a segue in a podcast.
Fair enough.
But no, I have not watched it yet. I've heard the music. I was actually even unaware, because I haven't been on TikTok a lot lately. I was unaware that there was even. Is it finished?
Okay, so. All the music is done.
Yes.
All the music is done. And there are animatics for every single one of the songs.
Yeah.
It's not like a finished full production. Like, a lot of the animatics are like very rough. But you can watch it from beginning to end, and every single part of it is animated.
Gotcha. Okay, yes. I was aware of that. But I thought that they were going to do a live action thing.
Well, I mean, it still might happen, like, if they get the production, but like the goal right now is to have the entire thing animated and fan animated at that. Like, every song is animated by a different animator.
Right.
I'll send you a link after this is done. If you watch it from beginning to end, it's a couple hours, and it's worth watching, especially to listen to all the music back to back and get the full story and the context of the animation. Not that it's a story you haven't heard before.
Or read multiple times in a couple different translations and iterations, and but anyways,
he doesn't take too many artistic liberties. Like, it is definitely the story that you've heard before, but it is still a great story. And the music is just so brilliant. He put so much thought into, like, what instrument belong to a particular character, which music stings, which reprises come back into what areas. It's a lot of stuff that you'll miss the first time you listen through it, but yeah, I'll send you a link. It's definitely worth a watch. I might even put that link up on the Discord somewhere so everybody else can watch it too. It's definitely worth your time.
Yeah, please. Actually, no, I would actually recommend that. Definitely go for that.
That being said, we are winding down on the amount of time we have left for this episode, and there's still so much to talk about. So, first of all, if you're listening to this episode and you're like, this thing happened between seasons and they didn't talk about it, and I was really expecting them to talk about it, let us know.
Yeah,
send us an email. Tell us on Discord. Chances are, whatever thing that you're like, hey, you should have talked about this, we're probably going to talk about it. If, like, one person asks us to talk about a particular thing, we'll probably talk about it. 2, I really want to go over what to expect from us from this season, because we kind of do that every year when we do our episode 1. I will say, expect Origin coverage again this year. One way or another, whether or not they give us press passes, I'm still pretty sure they'll give us press passes. Expect Origins coverage, and expect us to do it better this year than we did last year.
Yeah, I think we did the best we could last year. There was a lot that we put on our plate, and it was tough. And I think we gave you guys the best that we could. But knowing what we know now, I think that we can go into it and do better this time.
I'm going to put the pressure on us right here and now and say expect more actual plays out of us this year. I think some of our best episodes of last season were our actual plays. And I never expected this podcast to be an actual play podcast from the time of us starting it, and it still won't be. But I have a lot of fun doing them. If I go based off of the listens and the views, it seems like you guys enjoy listening to them. So Daggerheart, the full version, should be coming out during this season. I've already pre-ordered it. So
I tried to pre-order the deluxe version and it was too late.
Oh yeah, that's what I got. So one way or another, you guys will be getting the full experience of that. Oh man, I had like 3 other ones lined up that I know I want to play this. Oh, I got the expansion for Alice is Missing.
Nice.
So we'll probably do another Alice is Missing, and like that was a hell of a project to work on from start to finish, from playing that game entirely silently over text and then doing the reading of it afterwards. That was an experience, and I'm looking forward to doing that again.
It was fun. I think maybe the other one that you're thinking of is the vampire game.
Oh yeah, Eat the Reich. Eat the Reich was something we were supposed to do last season. It kind of fell through, but I think we're going to hit it hard again and try again, and Eat the Reich is definitely one I want to do sometime this season.
Yep, same. And then, I probably could have some stuff that I could throw together just for fun. Like, I still want to do that Kobolds Ate My Baby game.
Yeah, absolutely. And who knows what we're going to run into at Origins.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just as far as the actual content, the standard content, the stuff that's not the actual plays, the stuff that's not con coverages, expect more of the stuff that you've come to love from us. Like, I don't plan on doing many huge changes. We don't plan on doing many huge changes on, the week-to-week basis, but expect to hear from us every week, unless something really huge comes up, in which case we'll probably still try to do some backup content. That way you don't miss out on too much.
Rest assured that we will prioritize our mental and physical health before all else. And if we do not have an episode that comes out in a week, it's for a good reason.
Yes. And that we will be back to producing content as soon as we can.
Mm-hmm.
And last, but certainly not least, probably the most important, if you want to come on an episode, please let us know, and please come be on an episode. We'd love to hear you. We'd love to do as many collaborations as we can with other creators this season. And even if you're not a creator, even if you just want somebody who wants to just come on and yak about some nerdy stuff, let's do it.
Absolutely.
That being said, you got anything else for us, Baron?
I don't think I do, man.
All right. Well, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Casters Guild. Make sure that you check out our Discord. That's where all the best stuff is. Make sure you check out our new merch link. I can't believe we have merch. It's still blowing my mind at this point.
Maybe that should be our next shirt. I can't believe we have merch.
And, email us, castersguild@gmail.com. Let us know what's going on let us know what's going on with you in between seasons, what you want us to talk about, and what kind of content you're looking forward to this year. And with that, we will see you in the next one. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you
Bye.
later. Bye.
Bye.
See you. Bye. 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 Bye.